Hi, this is Ed Downs at Aberco Incorporated, manufacturer of Piemaster turnover machines and dough rollers. This is tutorial number 12 in the series on the SA21 Piemaster II. This should be the second to the last one. We'll do one more on uncrating the machine briefly, and then some tips and pointers. And we'll go over the safety stuff in here as well too. Reminder on the knife. Always be aware of where it is, the position it's in, and when power is on the machine and the hopper is removed, power should be immediately turned off, before the hopper is removed, and the knife guard put on the knife. So the power switch, as soon as you plug the computer in, as we said in the last tutorial, the computer boots up and talks to the Kindle reader. So it's talked to it, and it says it's showing that it is an auto roll. So immediately, even though there's not power to energize the solenoids or anything, it's telling you that it's an auto roll, and the molds will roll when the operator pushes the button. The green button turns on power to the machine. The green indicator light comes on telling you you've got power. So in auto roll, we can, let me get this. You're not gonna be able to see this Kindle no matter where I put this at this point. So you just have to trust me. We looked in the last video at the different positions. So I have an auto roll now, and that's it. Everything else is off. So all this machine will do is the molds will roll. So if you're hand making pies, you put your dough on, put your filling in, you push the buttons, the mold's gonna roll. The indicator light tells you when you push these buttons, it's gonna roll. I've got the pressure at 110 PSI. It varies anywhere between 100 and 120. Should never go beyond 120. You can start risking losing some of the seals in the water traps and in the actuators. I think they're rated up to a couple of 100 PSI, but you know how that is. But the machine doesn't need that. You should never need more than 120. So we're just going to push the buttons. Remember, the cam here comes around, hits this switch, and stops the cycle where these stop and start. So I've already set that. So we'll just push the buttons, and it went around. So you can see the molds didn't come back exactly to their starting position. So I'm going to adjust that cam to let them roll a little bit more before the switch is made, or the switch is open. So we'll try it right there. So I'll put them back where I want them. Anytime you adjust these things like this, you know, you've got power on the machine and air, they're going to roll. You don't want to stick your hands in there where, you know, stay on the sides here. So if some crazy thing happens, lightning strike or whatever, and they roll, your hands there's no reason to be up in here. So we'll try it again. I might have gone the wrong way with that adjustment. Hold on. Let me pause here for a minute and adjust that, and I'll be back. So we adjusted this cam switch here to get it fairly close to where it needs to be. Customer will make the final adjustments on this. Normally what I like to do at first is actually do this when you receive the machine. Do it with the conveyor removed. You don't have to, but the conveyor does put a load on the machine, and after it's traveled cross country and bounced around, I like to see it, if I'm doing an install, I like to see it operate without any load on it, and just make sure that everything is still the way it's supposed to be. So also when you start turning it like this, watch the conveyor at the end there. We talked about the conveyor adjustment in a previous video, that it's tracking evenly between the adjustment arms. You don't want it scraping on the sides where it's going to fray it. So that's when you can start tweaking the sides back and forth a little bit and getting it to track straight. So anyway, so we've got it in auto roll. Cam comes around, hits the switch, it stops the cycle. Need to adjust it more. I'm not going to take time to do it now. That could be also a belt tension thing that needs to be worked with. I just want to get this video done showing you the principles of this. A note on that though, I have seen a conveyor belt tighten so tight that it actually stalled the whole machine out. We sent out a service rep because we couldn't figure out over the phone why the molds weren't turning, and the customer had got the belt so tight that it actually was stalling the entire machine out. So you want the belt to be as loose as it can be and still move your product down the line. So that's in auto roll. It's just going to cycle around like that. Every time I push the buttons, the light comes back on, tells me it's ready to roll. So then if we go, we turn on the first fill, and auto roll is on. So now the knife is going to retract, the auger is going to turn, simulating depositing filling, and then when the timer runs out, the molds are going to roll. So that changes the position of this because of I have a little compressor out there, and it's not maintaining enough pressure at the machine for these test purposes. When you have the knife retracting, the auger turning, it draws the air down, and then there's not enough to roll the molds on a complete cycle. That's part of the problem I'm having with this adjustment as well. I've got a small compressor that we just use in here for testing and whatnot. So that you saw what happened there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the fill time, exaggerate it a little bit to around a second. Around a second. Most of your deposits will be less than a second in smaller molds. So now knife will retract, the auger will turn, and if you notice last time, as soon as the knife started to close, the molds rolled. That's what I told you before. So you got to put a delay in, the first delay. So we'll turn on that first delay, and I'm not going to use the water sprayer in here just because I don't want to fill the filter up with water. We're going to crate this machine up and ship it actually as soon as this video is done. So I don't want the filter full of water. You get the idea. If it goes in conjunction with the fill, spritzes some water on the edge of the dough. So now I put the delay in. So the knife should close. It's, what is it? 0.3 of a second. The knife should close. Then you'll see the molds roll. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not 0.3 of a second. It's 3 seconds. I can't see. My old eyes, I can't read that. But you got the gist of it. So there, that delay allowed time for the air to recover, so the molds came back to where they're supposed to be. So you'll set that delay based on what you need to set it on. How long it takes the filling to get down in there. It won't be as long as what you just saw. So then we can do what we can, just for the fun of it, we can turn on the second fill. We can turn on the second delay. So now we have fill, delay, and roll. Okay, those times are all exaggerated, just for demonstration. So then, if we want to go to the hopper dump, we'll hit this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The knife retracts, and it's dumping filling until you turn it off. So if you need to clear out the hopper, that's how you do that. So that really is the gist of it. Again, like I said, most of you will have auto roll. Oh, let me turn off auto roll. I didn't demonstrate that. So now we have the auto roll off, and we turn off everything except the first fill, and that's what we used to call, it's called push. You push the buttons once, it fills, and then it stops. You have to push it again to roll the molds. So there's the first push, it deposits. Now the light came on saying the next time you push these buttons, the molds are going to roll. And there they go. The other thing is the emergency lockout. So if anything goes wrong, the one thing you might see happen, we'll talk a little more in another video, is if when the fill cycle ends and the knife closes, the auger doesn't stop turning, it continues to turn. That's why you want to hit the lockout and stop it. Anytime you hit the lockout, you turn the power off immediately, and you don't do anything until whether it's you or somebody else is responsible to determine what happened and restore the machine, or if maintenance is required. It's the lockout. You push the button, it cuts the power off, so you light go off. It's got one of those, you turn it, and it'll come back. When you push that, you want to turn the power off immediately. If you have auto roll on, and that light's on, and the power's on, and you lock it, you release the lockout. If these buttons had been pushed it's going to roll. So anytime you hit the lockout, you immediately turn the power off. All that light is telling you is that the computer is set on auto roll. I keep getting out of the picture there. Sorry about that. It does, so there's no power on the machine, so nothing can happen. It's just telling you that the computer is configured for auto roll. So anytime you hit the emergency lockout, turn off the main power up here. So now we're back in push again. Everything's off except the fill. So we'll turn the power on. We're unlocked. Power's on. First push, it fills. Second push, it rolls. Make sense? Then we can go back to auto roll. We hit on. The red light comes on telling us that we're in auto roll. And we're going to push the buttons. It'll fill and then roll. And you saw how quickly that happened. Once again, you got to put the delay in. I'll tell you something right now. There's another feature in here. If the molds come around like this and they don't get all the way back around to their starting position, a little message comes up where it says molds out of position. So you can take them by hand. Remember, I'll keep your hands underneath all the time, and you can roll them to their starting position. Now it's made the switch in here, and the light comes back on. It's ready to roll. So we want to put that delay in, delay 1. So, and we can make it a little bit less. And of course, you'll have a little more robust compressor than what I have. So this issue that you're seeing here won't happen. So now we have the delay in. It'll fill. There should be a brief pause, and then it'll roll. And that's even a longer pause than you will have in real life. So I'll make it even a little more realistic. Probably something like that. There you go. And those molds are coming back now in a perfect position. The compressor is able to keep up with it with the delay in there. And even I have it at a second, and that might even be a little long. Yeah, you'll probably in real life you'll probably get it down to 3/4 of a second, half a second, depending on how much filling you're depositing and how dense it is, how easily it falls. Okay, that's all the features of it. The counter there in the corner is at 49. We've cycled it. You can hit the reset button to clear that. And then when you turn the machine off, you just turn off the main power. And until you unplug power from the back of the machine or turn off the Kindle, yeah, if you turn off the Kindle or unplug the power, the red light will go off. And that's the basics of operating it.